A few months after Smurfs: The Lost Village, we now come to what is known by all to be the most hated movie from Sony Pictures Animation and one of the most hated movies of all time, the Emoji Movie. The film takes place inside the cell phone of a boy named Alex, where in the text section, called Textopolis, lies a community of living emojis. One emoji, Gene, is supposed to be a meh emoji, but he is able to express different types of emotions, making him a pariah in Textopolis. When his ability causes a problem in his first day of work, his boss Smiler attempts to have him deleted, but he escapes and gets help from an arrogant hand emoji called High Five and a hacker emoji named Jailbreak to head to the iCloud section of Alex's phone to hack into Gene's source code to remove his ability. The film was inspired by director Tony Leondis's lifelong admiration for the Pixar film, Toy Story. Wanting to put a fresh spin on the idea, Leondis and co-creator Eric Siegel began asking themselves what kind of new toy had yet to be explored. Around that time, Leondis received a text message containing an emoji, which sparked the realization that this digital world could serve as the film's setting. As the story developed, Leondis initially considered having the emojis venture into the real world. However, his producer suggested that the inner workings of a smartphone offered a far more compelling environment. This ultimately led Leondis to focus on building a story centered on how emojis live and function within a phone. On a personal level, Leondis, who is a homosexual, strongly related to the main character Gene's struggle of being different in a world that expects you to be one thing. He later described the film as deeply personal, noting that this feeling resonates with many people. In July 2015, Sony Pictures Animation won a competitive bidding war against Warner Bros. Pictures and Paramount Pictures for the rights to produce the film. The project was officially announced at CinemaCon in 2016 and was quickly fast-tracked into production. Unlike most animated features, the film was completed in just 2 years, largely due to concerns that rapid advancements in smartphone technology might render its premise outdated. On World Emoji Day 2016, actor T.J. Miller was announced as the voice of Gene because Leondis envisioned Miller for the role ever since production began because Miller had an irrepressible energy, combined with an unexpected emotional depth. Though Miller was initially reluctant to join the project before agreeing to do so after hearing more about the story, and he also contributed to rewriting portions of the script. In October 2016, Ilana Glazer and James Corden were announced as part of the cast as the voices of Jailbreak and High Five respectively, though Glazer was later replaced by Anna Faris, who previously voiced Sam Sparks in the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs movies. Meanwhile, Jordan Peele revealed that he had been offered the role of the poop emoji, a part that ultimately went to Patrick Stewart, and that this experience contributed to Peele's decision to, for a short while at least, step away from acting. The film score was composed by Patrick Doyle, who had previously collaborated with Leondis on the 2008 animated movie, Igor. In addition, musician Ricky Reed created the original song, Good Vibrations, for the film. Singer Christina Aguilera, who voiced a character for the film, Akiko Glitter, contributed her song, Feel This Moment, to the soundtrack. On December 20, 2016, the film's first teaser trailer was released, and it was met with overwhelming backlash online. Within just 24 hours, it amassed nearly 22,000 dislikes compared to only about 4,000 likes, signaling a strongly negative response from audiences. A second trailer, released on May 16, 2017, fared no better, drawing similarly harsh criticism. In an effort to promote the film, Sony Pictures staged a press event in Cannes the day before the Cannes Film Festival, featuring T.J. Miller dramatically parasailing into the venue. The stunt, however, was widely ridiculed. Variety described it as slightly awkward, while The Hollywood Reporter dismissed it as outright promotional ridiculousness. Sony also faced criticism over a controversial social media misstep when the film's official Twitter account posted a parody image referencing The Handmaid's Tale, featuring Smiler. Given the show's heavy and serious themes, many viewers found the parody to be in poor taste. The image was quickly deleted following the backlash. Other promotions included the Empire State Building getting illuminated in emoji yellow and Saks Fifth Avenue hosting a themed red carpet event at its flagship store to showcase branded merchandise tied to the film. The movie was originally stated to be released on August 11, 2017, before the date was moved up twice, first to August 4th, and then to its final release date of July 28th. 5 days before, though, the movie premiered on July 23rd at the Regency Village Theatre. When it was released to the public, the film was accompanied by the Hotel Transylvania short, Puppy, which featured Dracula getting Dennis a monster dog as per his request. As for how it did critically...
She's gonna blow! Oh, would you look at that?
Yeah, it was widely panned by critics left and right, which given how it was already hated before it was released, it isn't that much of a surprise. It received a 6% on Rotten Tomatoes, the lowest score of any movie I've talked about on this channel. Reviews from many sites and press media like The Washington Post, The Guardian, The Associated Press, The New Republic, and The Hindustan Times pointed out the film's negative comparisons to movies like Inside Out, The Lego Movie, Wreck-It Ralph, B-Movie, and others. For the box office, though, it fared much, much better. It grossed out $86.1 million in the United States and Canada and $131.7 million in other countries, getting a worldwide total of $217.8 million against a production budget of $50 million. I guess this could be attributed to people going to see the film to make fun of it online. For awards, it was nominated for the Razzie nominees So Rotten You Loved It, but won Worst Picture, Worst Director, Worst Screen Combo, and Worst Screenplay at the 38th Golden Raspberry Awards, becoming the first animated film to win in any of those categories, as well as the third animated film overall to win a Razzie. A few months later, the film was released on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, and DVD on October 24th by Sony Pictures Home Entertainment. Notably, the film later played a role in a historic milestone for the film industry. Alongside Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, which came out over a month earlier by DreamWorks Animation, it was chosen for a special double feature screening on January 13, 2018. Organized by Cinema 70, the event marked the return of public movie theaters in Saudi Arabia after a 35-year ban, making these the first films to receive an official public screening there in decades. As for my thoughts on the movie, I honestly didn't think it was that bad. Don't get me wrong, I do see its faults, but after hearing of the production, I think I understand why no more thought or care was put into this film due to the rushed deadline. I even saw it twice in theaters. The Emoji Movie may be considered to be one of the biggest duds in terms of theatrically released animated movies, but I think that all depends on your point of view. A few months later, SPA released The Star, which takes place in the story of the birth of Jesus Christ in the New Testament from the Bible. When a donkey named Bo manages to escape his life as a pack mule for the owner of a mill to live the high life in a traveling royal caravan, he ends up being adopted by Joseph and Mary, who are expecting a child, who is the Son of God himself, and travel to Bethlehem to give birth there. Soon though, Bo, alongside his pigeon friend Dave and a bunch of other animals, set out to protect the couple when they find out that a huntsman and his 2 ferocious dogs, on the orders of the tyrannous King Herod, are tracking the couple down to kill the unborn child. The film's script traces its origins back to the late 1990s, when it was first developed by the Jim Henson Company, drawing partial inspiration from the success of Babe. In September 2014, it was reported that Devin Franklin would produce a faith-based film inspired by the Nativity story through his company, Franklin Entertainment, in partnership with Sony Pictures Animation. By April of 2015, it was announced that Timothy Reckert would make his directorial debut with the project. A few months later, on August 5, 2015, the film, then titled The Lamb, received an official release date of December 8, 2017. On June 20, 2016, Brian Henson and Lisa Henson of the Jim Henson Company were announced as executive producers. By this point, the film had been retitled The Star, marking the first Henson-produced collaboration with Sony since the Sesame Street film, The Adventures of Elmo in Grouchland. Animation for the film was handled by Cinesight Studios, with production beginning in January of 2017. Speaking of, on the 5th of January of that year, it was reported that Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry were casted in the film, with the rest of the cast getting announced 2 weeks later on January 19th. The only piece of cutting room floor trivia I could find for the film was that it was supposed to be live action like the Smurfs and Goosebumps movies, sort of in the style of Babe.
3 weeks later.
The film's soundtrack was released on October 27, 2017. It features a wide range of artists, including Jesse James Decker, Jake Owen, Kelsey Ballerini, Zara Larson, Casting Crowns, Kirk Franklin, Fifth Harmony, Yolanda Adams, Saving Forever, and Mariah Carey. The digital version of the album also includes a bonus track by Pentatonix. The lead single, which was named after the film, performed by Mariah Carey, reached number 6 on the Billboard US Holiday Digital Song Sales Chart in 2017. On November 16th, the official video for the song was made available on Carey's YouTube channel. The movie was supposed to be released on November 10, 2017, but it was rescheduled a week later to November 17th. When it was released, the movie earned mixed reviews from critics and audiences, with a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes, and critics like Ignatiy Vishnevetsky from the AV Club said that the film was a rote cartoon feature, existing for purely commercial reasons. Even the kid-friendliest, Sunday school-iest kind of religious art can't spring from religion alone. It needs artistry, too. Otherwise, you end up with a generic product aimed at a market segment who'll buy anything as long as it seems sufficiently churchy. For the box office, it only managed to do somewhat better, as it received $40.9 million in the United States and Canada, and $22 million in other countries, for a worldwide total of $62.9 million. It was also nominated for some awards like a Golden Globe Award for Best Original Song with the Star sung by Mariah Carey, 2 Annie Awards for Best Storyboarding in an Animated Feature Production and Best Editorial in an Animated Feature Production, and a Guild of Music Supervisors Awards for Best Music Supervision for film budgeted under $25 million. It did win 2 awards though, a Truly Moving Picture Award at the 2017 Heartland Film Festival and an Epiphany Prize for Inspiring Movies at the Movie Guide Award. A few months later, The Star was released on digital video on demand on February 6, 2018, and later on DVD and Blu-ray on February 20th by Sony Pictures Home Entertainment. As for my thoughts on the film, I thought it was decent at best. It's not one of Sony's more interesting movies, but it is nice seeing the story of the birth of Christ being told through the perspective of some funny animals. I guess what drew me to this movie was that I was raised Christian, and maybe a majority of other people with a similar background had the same feeling. The Star is technically a religion movie and can join the ranks of other animated films from the same genre like The Prince of Egypt, and I'd say that it does enough to make it enjoyable to any secular religious person. Just would say that it stands out from a majority of them. Sometime later in 2018, SPA released Peter Rabbit, based on the stories of the same name by Beatrix Potter. In this adaptation, Peter and his family and friends are a bunch of wild, anarchic animals who spend their days harassing the elderly Mr. McGregor, who soon dies of a heart attack. Peter and everyone celebrate this as they begin to take over his house. However, Mr. McGregor's estate is transferred to his nephew, Thomas, who plots to turn his house into a toy shop, and Peter and his family try to get rid of him. But things get complicated when Thomas falls for the kind-hearted painter Bee, who lives nearby and treats the rabbits like they're her children. The film was first made public knowledge in April of 2015 through email leaks as a result of someone who hacked into Sony Pictures, before it got officially announced in December, just 8 months later. In August of 2016, Will Gluck was reported to be the movie's director after writing a script for the film alongside co-screenwriter Rob Lieber, and soon, British comedian James Corden was casted as the voice of the title character, and Rose Byrne was casted as Bee, and sometime before the film came out, Byrne said that her character was a reimagined version of Potter herself, and the other cast members were brought on in the ensuing years after 2015. The film's production began in December of 2016, and Zarin Albandian of Animal Logic, which provided the animation and visual effects for the movie, was brought on as the film's co-director. The production employed a team of 80 animators, organized into 6 core units, each overseen by a lead animator and supported by a technical animator. Live-action sequences were shot on location at Centennial Park in Sydney, Australia, as well as in Ambleside, Cumbria, in the United Kingdom. In March 2017, additional filming took place at Sydney's Central Railway Station, which doubled as London Paddington Station, while Mortuary Railway Station was used to portray Windermere Station. There are 3 actors who both play a live-action character and voice an animal. Domhnall Gleeson, who plays Thomas, also voices the frog character Jeremy Fisher. Rose Byrne not only played Bee, but also voices the duck character Jemima Puddle Duck, and Sam Neill, who plays Mr. McGregor, also voices the badger character Tommy Brock. The film's soundtrack includes a reworked version of the song Steal My Sunshine by Len, with lyrics that were adapted to reflect the story of Peter Rabbit. The film was originally going to be released in the United States on March 23, 2018, before getting moved up to February 9th, and was later released in the United Kingdom on March 16th and in Australia on March 22nd over a month later. When it was released, it got a mixed reception from critics and audiences. It got an approval rating of 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, and critics like Chris Nashawati of Entertainment Weekly gave the movie a B grade, saying it was clever and funny, and moves as fast as a tyke on a sugar bender, noting its differences with the source material. For the box office, like the previous 2 films on this list, it did better in that department. The movie managed to receive $115.3 million in the United States and Canada, and $235.9 million in other countries, getting a worldwide total of $351.2 million against its budget of $50 million. Despite this success, the film ended up getting a controversy with one scene where when Peter and Thomas go at it, Peter triggered his blackberry allergy, which caused a large amount of public scrutiny as they saw this part of the movie as a promotion for allergy bullying, and the people at Sony themselves realized that the scene was in poor taste and thus, they apologized.
Wow, that's taking a long time. She's apologizing the heck out of that guy.
The movie also went on to be nominated for some awards, like 2 Teen Choice Awards for Choice Fantasy Movie and Choice Fantasy Movie Actor for James Corden, and while it was also nominated for an AACTA Award for Best Original Music Score, it received said award for Best Production Design. 2 months later after the film came out, it was soon released by Sony Pictures Home Entertainment on digital platforms on April 20th and eventually on Blu-ray, DVD, and 4K Ultra HD a few weeks later on May 1st. The Blu-ray included some features like Shake Your Cottontail Dance Along, a behind-the-scenes video called Peter Rabbit Mischief in the Making, and a mini-movie about Peter's sisters called Flopsy Turvy. In the US, an exclusive special Garden Edition Blu-ray and DVD was released at the store chain, Target, with a bonus disc that features a 17-minute featurette called Make Your Own Garden. As for my thoughts on the film, I feel like it's one of Sony's weaker movies. While there are some things I enjoy, like how the film tries to be more wild and crazy, the way it's executed leaves a lot to be desired, and the movie is pretty mean-spirited, especially with Peter constantly tormenting Thomas who, despite being uptight, I myself can relate to him of having to put up with a lot of annoyances in life, but the film did make me see other adaptations of the original Beatrix Potter tale. Peter Rabbit is, to me at least, the least appealing of the live-action Sony animated films. It has an audience. I just feel like I shouldn't be part of that audience.